the one, it's like a bunch of dudes who are like repressed, living in a world where it's like
Oh yeah,
run by
okay.
women.
Whatever happened to Jody? Because actually,
yeah, that was the.
I think that was like the second one I was
Yeah.
gonna do with you.
Yeah, that was the project where I
Because
was
I remember auditioning for that in what was the bar in Westchester?
Yeah, we met
Barnaby's
there.
or
Yeah, Barnaby's. That was the film where I was becoming a yes man with. So I basically what happened was I had a 4-hour meeting with this DP guy who he was way ahead of me, like just, and that's why I was like, I need to work with this dude,
right.
And I kind of we in that 4-hour meeting we kind of deconstructed what was wrong with feeding the fire, and I was like, all right, and then he's like, but if we do something different, like I'd be on board, I'd shoot that. I mean, I'd shoot this, but I wouldn't be happy with it. And so I like started like working on like we started like beating out or like planning out the beats of the short film, and before my eyes, like it took me a month to come up with Feeding the Fire, but like before my eyes, I'm watching this dude come up with a short film in like minutes. Like I'm like how like, because I'd spent years trying to come up with things and getting lost in the quicksand, and because I guess my ADHD.
So maybe you do just need some structure, because you have the creativity. It sounds like you have a ton of creativity. Maybe I've been
succeeding, but I'm always looking for structure. You're right. But
and almost like a plan.
Yeah.
And you don't have to follow the plan 100%, but at least you have something like an idea.
Yeah, I need
like
an
outline
approach, because like my brain will go a million directions at once, and that's good, but it's also bad because I have to find a way to contain it.
Yeah.
You have to contain it within the box. Limitation is freedom. Limitation is like what creates what gives you possibilities and makes a person versus a god or some, not even a person,
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have to have limitations, and that's what nature of creativity is. And so, but yeah, no, I was working with this dude, and I was in my mind I was trying to do this to the best of my degree, and I thought I was like, yeah, I totally want to like this idea we're making, but it after the first draft of writing it based on like what we talked about, I just hated myself. I was like, what am I doing? Like, I felt like a shell of my former self. Like you feel like, and I was like, immedeged, okay, no, I can't do this. And then I had a backstage ad already out there, and I messaged everybody individually. I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah name. Like, oh, this is why I can't do this. Like I feel like I'm, not doing something that's true to myself. I'm like, and then I told my friend who was working with me at the time, and he's like, you did what? And then immediately when somebody like gives me like hard feedback on something, like I immediately overcorrect, and I'm like, oh God, what did I do? And so then
you felt like you were in over your head basically, and then because of that, you just pulled back and canceled the project.
I feel like I was making a film that went against my beliefs and on like it felt like I was lying to the audience. Like I just felt like I was lying to people. I don't like lying. I can't stand it. And it's like back when I was in middle school, we were supposed to get our parents' signature on like tests or something, and this is a funny story. And basically I forgot, and I was like, oh shit, I'm not gonna get credit for this, and so I faked my mom's signature, and then I was like, all right, cool. And then at the end of the class, she's like, all right, everybody who forgot, I'll give you till next week, the weekend to like fix it. And I'm like, oh, why did I do that?
Horrible.
After the class, everybody left. I went to the teacher, told her, I was like, I forged my mom's signature. I'm sorry. I just felt like, and she's like, it's fine, it's whatever. And I was like, and I told my mom that story, she laughed, and I was like, that's me to this day, because I can't like when I agree like with the wedding stuff, your wedding thing. I when I was talking to you, I told you guys I can totally, sorry if I spit. I can totally match that photographer that you're working with like look. And I was like, yeah, I can totally match it without, like, I saw it for a glimmer, like, on the screen, and I was like, oh, shit, what did I just say? I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll have to figure that out now.
Yeah, but it's okay, because, we want something different.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, yeah. But, yeah, it's like, I went for immediately after I was like, all right, let's see if I can figure this out. So I tried, and if you like, I took a few hours trying to do a bunch of stuff, and I've also tried it like since then with everything I've learned. Every time it's like I think I don't know what she does, but I'm pretty sure at this point whatever she does, it just either doesn't look good on video or it doesn't look good on these cameras.
Yeah, I think she might use some kind of filter.
Yeah,
but well, I think your point is you have to be true to yourself, and you can't do something that isn't you. So, but I totally get that. I totally
reached out to Sophia. I was like, I'm sorry. I told you I could match this look. I'm really sorry. I can't do it. I gotta stick to.
Yeah, no, and I got that 100%.
Is to shoot your wedding and to say I can make the look
and
work.
It doesn't look that way. Yeah.
See, the thing is like with lying, it's like what you do is your like with what I've heard from Jordan Peterson. If you listen to him,
I do a little bit.
Dude, he's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, he breaks things down, makes it concrete in ways that like I'm like, you know it, you feel it, but you don't know how to verbalize it. But he does it just exceptionally well. Lying is it just causes more problems, and in life, it's like it's really hard to solve the problems you have on your own. You know, what you really need a lot of times is to work with others to solve the problems. And the way to solve problems with others is to identify those problems, identify them with other people, say, okay, this is what the problem is, be honest about it. And then you have teammates that you can work together with, aid in fixing that problem. And so, yeah, like that's why I believe in like that, and also it's like you create more stress and more problems when you lie, and it's
Absolutely.
Like it catches up with you, and that's why I think I really just I was looking at that Jodie film and I was like, I just feel like this isn't the film I set out to make, because I had that.
Yeah, and if you're not passionate about a film or project, I mean, why would you do it? Because you're not going to put in the effort that you should put into it, and it's not going to end up turning out.
When you're making a film,
turning out good,
stressful as hell, because you have to put all these things together.
It's a lot of moving pieces, and I'm doing it now with Resignation.
Yeah.
And
it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, matching everyone's schedule and just getting everyone on the same page.
Don't make your beard white. I'll get into that.
I noticed that
for you. I've talked about it with everybody on the podcast. So I'll get into that. But yeah, like yeah.
Can I just?
Okay, yeah. We can take we'll keep it rolling.
Okay.
I think. But yeah, no, I've got some jumping off points to get back into this when we get started again. All the dust in here, man.
This is great though, dude. I like the background.
Yeah.
I saw the first one you did. Was that like up in?
It was at David's place.
Okay.
And we just did a table with a 3D printer and all this mess in the background.
But this looks like professional. This looks you know.
I was like, what could I knew that these sound panels would look really nice, and I thought instead of just having them side by side and all that, having something between them. That's where I got the high contrast gold.
You got the gold, and then you got the
green.
The green,
it looks kind of like the green letters on my logo and whatnot. But yeah, so
that's good.
So we're back. We just had a little break,
a little bathroom break.
But where we were was why we didn't do Jodie. Why didn't I do that? And why did I feel like I was lying to the audience? I didn't realize it when I was first getting into it and going this new route of doing this other film than what Feeding the Fire was. And it wasn't my story. It wasn't like Feeding the Fire was actually based on real life situations where I was this where looking back I was a bit of a what is it they call them, simps now.
What?
Not really, but just in a sense of being a guy who's like a beta male. Like I'm trying not to be that anymore. Like I think I've succeeded thus far. So yeah, like I don't like I'm more direct about my feelings. I don't like I'm not gonna allow myself to get in a situation where I'm friend zoned, where I'm like friends with a girl that I like and I don't tell her. I've been in that situation. That was what that film was about, and that's what was real about it. Now, what happened with Jodie was, it was fascinating how the DP. Yeah, I'm not gonna say his name unless he wants to talk to me on here, but it's he, and I'm not gonna say anything bad about him. I feel like I was I wasted his time. I didn't mean to. It wasn't. But I felt like I had to tell the truth and cut things off, or like I made something, or it was driving me nuts. But
was that a short film?
Yeah, it was a short film.
It was, okay.
But it was just killing me because it was. So what happened was we reworked it from the inspiration of Feeding the Fire. And he showed me how we could, rework it, and he asked me what that film was about, all these different things. And then we reworked it into things that fit the boxes for him in terms of story, which I kind of draw on still to a degree.
So you guys kind of came up with it together.
Yeah, what I didn't realize at the time was, and I was in denial of after the 4-hour meeting we had, which was like, it was his interpretation of my story, and that and not only that, but I don't want to get into that. But it was like his interpretation of my story, and it didn't come from this like meditative place that I was trying to come from, that felt real and honest, like something that I put a lot of thought into. It was just something we came up with on the spot, and
right.
it was cool, but it was just cool. It didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, you just weren't passionate about it, and that makes sense.
And it didn't feel honest and real to me because it felt like it was his interpretation of my story, which, I have a better understanding of my own situation, my story that it's based on than he did. And I should have knew that at the time. And it caught up with me because every time I wrote the script and the first draft, I did my best with it, but I hated it. But I was like, all right, well, we'll figure this out. Then we got together again and we reworked every single line of the script based on like, he's like, no, you got to change this, and I had to audio record that meeting because, and which was another red flag that I should have realized, because when a good idea is good for me, I don't have to write it down. I don't have to record it. It sticks. If it's a good idea, it sticks. You don't have to write it down, which is an interesting caveat when it comes to like David Lynch saying you have to write things down to like really flesh it out. There are times where you have to do that. There are times where you have to write the idea about it down, but sometimes you want to let it marinate.
Yeah.
You don't feel like it's complete yet. You want to like marinate it and let it, there's a point where you write and there's a point where you don't. You have that's something that you know better than anybody else for your own process. Now, I should have took that as a red flag, the fact that I couldn't, none of the ideas he talked about stuck. And he knew that. He's like, you have to write all this stuff down. Constantly, he was like, you have to write these things down. Now, that went against everything I'd learned from like all these writers I had learned from thus far in terms of writing. It's like the best ideas stick. This guy was blogging about, or was writing a blog about the World Trade Center and all that stuff, and his notes from being there, and he had to write about like his time in the top of the tower where the bar was, after the tower went down, and it was like going to be this kind of like deep, really reflective piece, but he lost all his notes, and then some writer told him, the good stuff sticks. Don't worry about the notes. Yeah. Don't worry about the details. What you were drinking, all that stuff.
Right.
It'll come to you. And so, and I think that was Cal Fussman. But yeah, he, it's like the good ideas stick. And I think Stephen King says that too. And I had to listen through the entire audio and re-listen to it just to write this new version of the script based on what he was saying. And once I had written it, I just felt like this isn't even me.
It's like, not you anymore. You weren't feeling it.
Yeah, I was depressed. I was like, and dude, so there were some actors who I was talking to at the time who I was trying to cast for it. That was their first impression of me. And it was probably a horrible first impression because I was all over the place. I was having a meeting at Colonial Gardens, this like flower shop where I was doing casting sessions there. I was like, what are you doing, Tom? Like, I have these actors coming. Like, imagine the weirdest like audition place you could go to. Go to like a flower shop where there's like really loud fans everywhere. It's like, all right, let's do this.
There's this guy.
Yeah, no,
I think Jody might have been one of my first actually speaking. It would have been one of my first speaking roles.
Yeah. What was your first role?
I was in a Temple student film called Strays.
Yeah.
So I was like the antagonist. I was this crazy drunk brother.
Yeah. Wait.
And I helped them with the stunt choreography, the fight choreography, because my character gets killed, at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So I think that was my first one.